my photo taste is the Pinterest because they are the best.
This is a download from... Hello and welcome to 6 Minute English. I'm Rob.
And I'm Neil. Hello.
I'd like to start by asking, how did you get up here to the studio on the 6th floor this morning?
Well, by lift, of course.
I thought so. That's what we're going to talk about in this programme. Lifts, or elevators, as Americans call them.
Lifts? Well, that's not very exciting, is it? What is there to say about lifts, Rob? I mean, they take you up and down, and that's it, really.
Well, you're in for a surprise, Neil. But first, let's see if you can answer this question. Which country has the most lifts? Is it A, the USA, B, Italy, or C, China?
Well, it seems obvious to me. Because of the massive expansion in its construction industry, I'm going to say China.
OK, well, we'll find out if you're right or wrong later on. But now, let's elevate or raise your knowledge about lifts. This invention has had quite an effect on which floor people choose to live on.
Yes, well, I suppose before the days of lifts, rich people lived on the ground floor and poorer people lived on the top floors and had to use the stairs. Now, though, it's the other way round, and that, in turn, has given rise to penthouses with their fantastic views.
And the history of lifts goes back a long way. It was mathematician Archimedes who invented the first lift in 236 BC. In the Middle Ages, there were examples of lifts being used for military purposes. Then they helped to move agricultural products around. They really came into their own, or became very useful, in the Industrial Revolution.
And there was a wide range of methods used to drive them too. Pulleys, water and steam power, electricity and so on. Today, tall blocks of flats couldn't exist without them. And you're right, Rob, there's more to lifts than meets the eye.
There certainly is. But have you noticed how nobody says anything in the lift? Have you ever felt uneasy in a lift, Neil?
Actually, yes, I have. Just this morning, I was standing next to the big boss, and neither of us really knew what to say to each other.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Well, let's listen to Jason Whale, sales manager at Elevators Limited, talking about this subject. He thinks he may have found a solution to the problem. He uses a word that describes the state of feeling strange or uneasy. Can you tell me what it is?
It's a very anxious experience the time you spend in a lift. I think everyone behaves very differently and awkwardly in a lift. If you have things around you to take away that awkwardness, we all look at our phones sometimes or look down at the floor, well, surely it's better to look at advertisements on the walls.
He said awkwardness, which describes the state of feeling strange or uneasy. He suggests that advertisements in lifts could improve our experience of being in one. I suppose that could mean moving digital ads.
It could, but before we consider that further, let's delve into lifts a little more. Of course, there's always the danger of getting stuck in one, but thankfully that's rare, and usually you can dial an emergency number and be rescued.
And did you know that most lifts mark the 13th floor as 12A or something similar, because 13 is considered an unlucky number? By the way, Rob, have you ever heard of the elevator pitch?
Yes, I have, Neil. It's something we can do when we're stuck in a lift with someone.
Yes, people say that if you have an idea or product to sell, you should be able to sell it or pitch it to someone quickly. So, in other words, in the time it takes for an elevator or lift to reach the top of the building.
It's a good idea if the lift doesn't break down. Let's get back to the thought that digital advertising can make travelling by lift a more pleasant experience. Let's hear from Jason Whale again. He uses a word that means thinner. Can you spot it?
I think with all things, as technology becomes both slimmer and also cheaper as well, it becomes much more attractive to people that purchase lifts, and therefore there are so many different ways to enhance a lift with light boxes, with moving images, with television screens. It becomes quite exciting for us and hopefully a little bit more interesting for the people that use lifts every day.
He said slimmer, which means thinner.
And he said enhance, which means improve. Well, he could be onto something. Looking at moving advertisements must be better than listening to music. That's non-stop, pre-recorded, usually boring music.
Oh, that's terrible. I hate music.
OK, so Neil, do you remember the question I asked you at the beginning of the programme? I asked you which country has the most lifts. Is it A, the USA, B, Italy, or C, China?
And I said, C, of course. It must be. It has to be China.
Really? You sound so sure, but in fact you're wrong. The answer is actually Italy. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, it astonishes me, to be honest.
All those old buildings have got lifts in.
I wonder why.
Well, before we go, it's time to remind ourselves of some of the vocabulary that we've heard today. Neil.
Came into their own. Elevators. Elevate. Blocks of flats. There's more to lifts than meets the eye. Awkwardness. Delve into. Largely. Slimmer. Enhance. Muzak.
Thanks, Neil. Well, that brings us to the end of today's 6-Minute English. We hope you enjoyed today's programme. Please join us again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
6-Minute English from the BBC.
My photo taste is the Pinterest because they are the best. Flick to link, a link to flick.
Just want to say my name is Emmanuel Jal, and I come from a long way. I've been telling a story that has been so painful for me. It's been a tough journey for me, traveling the world telling my story in form of a book, and also telling it like now, and also the easiest one was when I was doing it in form of a music. So I have branded myself as a war child. I'm doing this because of a old lady in my village now who have lost her children. There's no newspaper to cover her pain and what she wants to change in the society. And I'm doing it for a young man who want to create a change and has nowhere to project his voice because he can't write, or there's no internet like Facebook, MySpace, YouTube for them to talk. Also, one thing that kept me pushing this story, these painful stories, are the dreams I have. Sometimes it's like the voices of the dead that I've seen would tell me, don't give up, keep on going, because sometimes I feel like stopping and not doing it because I didn't know what I was putting myself into. Well, I was born in the most difficult time when my country was at war. I saw my village burn down. The world that meant a lot to me, I saw it vanish in my face. I saw my auntie raped when I was only 5. My mother was claimed by the war. My brothers and sisters were scattered. And up to now, me and my father were detached, and I still have issues with him. Seeing people die every day, my mother crying, it's like I was raised in a violence. And that made me call myself a war child. And not only that, when I was 8, I became a child soldier. I didn't know what was the war for. But one thing I knew was an image that I saw that stuck in my head. And when I went to the training camp, I said, I want to kill as many Muslims and as many Arabs as possible. The training wasn't easy, but that was the driving force because I wanted to revenge for my family. I wanted to revenge for my village. Luckily now, things have changed because I came to discover the truth. What was actually killing us wasn't the Muslim, it wasn't the Arabs. It was somebody sitting somewhere manipulating the system and using religion to get what they want to get out of us, which is the oil, the diamond, the gold, and the land. And so realizing the truths gave me a position to choose. Should I continue to hate or let it go? So I happen to forgive. Now I sing music with the Muslims. I dance with them. I even had a movie out called War Child, funded by Muslim people. So that pain has gone out. But my story is huge. So I'm just going to go into a different step now, which is easier for me. I'm going to give you a poem called Forced to Sin, which is from my album War Child. It talk about my story, one of the journey that I trekked where I was tempted to eat my friend because we had no food and we're like around 400 and only 16 people survived that journey. So I hope you're going to hear this. My dreams are like torment, my every moment. Voices in my brain of friends that were slain. Friends like Loa who died by my side of starvation. In the burdened jungle and the desert plain. Next was I, but Jesus heard my cry. As I was tempted to eat the rotten flesh of my comrade, he gave me comfort. We used to raid villages, stealing chickens, goats and sheep. Anything we could eat. I knew it was rude, but we needed food. And therefore I was forced to sin to make a living. Forced to sin to make a living. Sometimes you gotta lose to win. Never give up, never give in. Left home at the age of 7. 1 year later, I live with an AK-47 by my side. Slept with one eye open wide. Run duck, play dead and hide. I've seen my people die like flies, but I've never seen a dead body, or at least one that I've killed. But still as I wonder, I won't go under. Guns barking like lightning and thunder. As a child so young and tender, words I can't forget, I still remember. As a sergeant command, raising his hand, no retreat, no surrender. Yigish, I carry the burn of the trauma. War child, child without a mama, still fighting in the struggle. Yet as I wage this new war, I'm not alone in this drama. No sit or stop, as I wait for the top. I'm fully dedicated like a patriotic cop. I'm on a fight, day and night. Sometimes I'm doing wrong in order to make things right. It's like I'm living a dream. First time I'm feeling like a human being. The children of Darfur, your empty bellies and the telly nights, you that I'm fighting for. Left home, don't even know the day I'll ever return. My country's war-torn. Music I used to hear was bombs and fire of guns. So many people die that I don't even cry no more. Ask God question, what am I here for? And why are my people poor? And why? When the rest of the children were learning how to read and write, I was learning how to fight.
Flick to link, link to flick. My photo taste is the Pinterest because they are the best.
This is a download from... Hello and welcome to 6 Minute English. I'm Rob.
And I'm Neil.